Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Ossiarch Bonereapers, and in particular we're going to take a look at the Null Myriad sub-faction. Now we're going to go through the special rule that makes the Null Myriad special for the Ossiarch Bonereapers before having a look at a couple of units we recommend to get started with for this particular sub-faction. We'll then take a look at some other units we recommend to expand upon after those first couple of initial purchases, and finally finish off the video with a little sample army list for you to use hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own Null Myriad force for the Ossiarch Bonereapers in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And so, the special rule we get for the Null Myriad is you can roll a dice each time a friendly Null Myriad unit wholly within 9" of a friendly Null Myriad Mortison's unit is affected by a spell cast by an enemy wizard or the abilities of an endless spell summoned to the battlefield by an enemy unit. On a 2+, you ignore the effects of that spell or the effects of that endless spell's ability. So straight up, the big thing here is that your force is going to be stopping magic affecting you, really. This is the big thing for the Null Myriad, but I think, building this around, and the idea and the narrative behind Null Myriad is that you've got these super powerful wizards that are also warded heavily against magic coming in against them. This can lead to you, potentially getting more of your magic off than your opponent. And so, where to start with this force? But I think the Mortison Boneshaper is the place to go. Now, the Mortison Boneshaper is a really fun character to use. First of all, it's got an ability, its Boneshaper ability, where it can return up to 3 friendly models to any of your smaller units like Mortek Guard, but it can also heal units of a Mortek Guard and Necropolis Stalkers as well for 3 wounds a turn, which is really fun. It's a 1-cast and Unbind Wizards. Its Shardstorm spell is a nice mortal wound damage dealing spell. All in all, just a really solid hero to lead your force. Now joining this are the Mortek Guard, which are the baseline infantry for the Ossiarch Bonereapers. Mortek Guard have the option between Netherite Blades and Spears. Both of them are going to have fairly similar profiles. The big difference here is that your Netherite Spears will be a 2-inch reach, but will hit on a 4 instead of 3. Meanwhile, the rest of the profile will be 2 attacks, forced wound, rend 1, damage 1 on the rest of the weaponry. This is going along with the fact that you have the Netherite weapon rule along with your Ossiarch Bonereapers as standard, so every time you roll a 6 to hit, you're actually inflicting 2 wound rolls to be made instead of just 1. And so, looking at where else we can go after those first couple of initial purchases, checking out some of the other Ossiarch Bonereaper wizards we have. The first one is the Soul Reaper. Now, the Mortison Soul Reaper, 5 wounds, a 4-up save. It's got the Soul Reaper's Sire for 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 2, damage 2. However, each time this unit fights, you can sail unleash a Reaping Strike, and if you do so, you can add 2 to the attacks characteristic of its melee weapons until the end of the phase, but it can only target enemy units that have 5 or more models in them, which is pretty cool, meaning it goes up to, and that's 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 2, damage 2. Not a bad damage profile at all. Soul Blast is its War Scroll spell. This is just some straight up damage dealing mortal wounds. Now we then have the Mortison Soul Mason. This is the model on its own little throne. Now, the big thing here, it's 2-cast and 2 Unbind Wizard. If this unit's part of an Ossiarch Bonereapers army as well, it'll know all the spells from the lore of Ossian sorcery in addition to any other spells it knows. What it's got is its Soul Guard spell, where you can add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by a friendly unit of Mortek Guard or Caval's Death Riders, and at the end of turn you can actually choose to cast this spell, or potentially get the option to cast this spell some extra times thanks to its Mortek Throne. You roll a dice at the end of the hero phase. On a 1, nothing happens. 2 to 5, you cast Soul Guard again, even if it's already been cast that turn, and on a 6, you can cast it up to D3 extra times. Now, a unit that actually becomes Battleline if you've got a Mortison General and Mortison characters, that all we've talked about in this video so far, are the Immortus Guard. Their big thing here is they're going to be able to protect your heroes. They've got a cool rule while they're within 3 inches of a friendly unit, that is an Ossiarch Bonereapers hero. Instead of making a ward or a wound roll or any of that sort of stuff for your heroes, you can instead palm the wounds off onto the Immortus Guard. They also have a command for Crushing Assault, where you use it once per battle after this unit has fought for the first time, and they can effectively fight a second time, though the Strike Last effect applies to the second attack. Other than that, they do have their Dread Halberds for 3 attacks at 3s and 3s, rend 2, damage 2, and a 2-inch reach on them, so a nice, solid weaponry. Lastly, we have the endless spells. We've got a bunch of wizards, so why not talk about the endless spells? First of all, they have bonded endless spells, and what happens with these are automatically sort of bound to the caster that casts them. They can't be taken off, and what happens if the caster that they're bound to ever dies, the endless spell is removed from the table. It doesn't actually go wild, so there's not ever a chance for these to come back and hit your own stuff. Now, the Soul Stealer Carrion is the first one of them. This is the bird. This can stop your opponent's models of 1 and 2 wounds within 6 inches of the endless spell, being able to contest objectives. The Nightmare Predator is just some straight up mortal wounds, and then the Bone type Shrieker will actually subtract 1 from ward rolls for your opponent's units within 12 inches of it, and it'll also give you the cool ability of not allowing Inspiring Presence or Rally commands to be used within 12 inches of it as well. And so here we have our sample army list for the Ossiarch Bonereapers. Obviously, Null Myriad for our Legion, Mortal Realm Shaiish, and the grand strategy we've gone for is defend what's ours. We've got a very defensive focused army here that's going to be a little bit slow across the table, so I think trying to protect our own territory is much better than some of the other options. Our Triumph, we're 10 points under. It's that sort of points for where there's a chance you could get it, chance you can't get it. It's, you know, that odd thing, but Inspired +1 wound is the way to go. Now, our leader-wise, we've got 2 Mortis and Bone Shapers. One of them is going to have the spell Reinforce Constructs. What this one is going to do for us is we can effectively successfully cast pick a friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper unit hold within range, invisible to the caster, and give them a 4+ ward save against mortal wounds. We also have the other one with Empowered Netherite weapons to get some exploding weapon attacks on our Netherite weapons on 5+ rather than 6s. We then go on for a command trait and artifact combo of Dark Acolyte for the command trait. This will allow the first spell cast, if it's successfully cast by a general, to be unstoppable. And then the artifact Artisan Key allows them to use their Bone Shaper ability twice. We then also have gone the Mortis and Soul Reaper in here, and we've gone for Flaming Weapon on them. I think this is just an interesting, fun piece to use in the 1000-point game. This is going to mean, if it goes off, it's going to be damage 3 with that side. I mean, it's got 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 2, damage 3. Can be a nice little hitting piece. Battle line wise, we've got 3 Mortek Guard who become battle line thanks to having a Mortis in general, and then 2 units of 10 Mortek Guard. We then put in 2 Endless Spells, the only 2 we're allowed. If we could fit 3 into a 1000-point list, I totally would have 3, but 2 of them, we've gone for the Nightmare Predator and Bone type Shrieker, and then we have our Core Battalion Battle Regiment wrapping everything up so it's a 1-drop force. If you've got some ideas on a Null Myriad force, a wizard heavy force like this with lots of little wizards around the table, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and the fantastic little community we have here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server that's linked down in the video's description for you all to come join and hang out and hobby with us all. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so either by Patreon, YouTube members, or by grabbing some merch from Teespring or our Ko-fi store, all of which are linked down in the video's description. Also, there's some fantastic ways in a bunch of our videos, depending on what game system you're looking to get in. We have a bunch of affiliate codes linked down in the video's description of associated games and companies as well. And if you'd like to help support us via them, that would be greatly appreciated. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out for your continued support. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer on Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Suarez, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. And to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, Davis Weir, James Tillman, Gargamel196, and Disco. A massive thank you to all of you for your continued support. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, to everyone who comes on and does all the battle reports and all of the podcasts with us as well, and indeed to everyone who helps make our Discord server a fantastic place to be for all hobbyists. Thank you once again for watching, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.